Welcome back to Dark Souls for the average player. Last video we reached the bottom of Blighttown, lit and rested at this bonfire, ran up here to get the dragon scale from the chest that's down here. Also, if you drop down into here, and if we can look up, can we look up? No, we can't, but if you could look up, you would see the top of the pit that we got the whip from earlier. Now that we're in Lower Blighttown, we're going to go human and kindle the bonfire. And this is for two reasons. Firstly, obviously, to be able to kindle the bonfire, and secondly, because as in the depths, Blighttown has an NPC invasion, and this invader will be available as a summon once you've beaten her. So we're human. So Lower Blighttown, like Upper Blighttown, has mosquitoes, and as before, ranged is really just the best way to deal with them, otherwise they harry you around. So we're just going to sit here, pop these mosquitoes, and rejoin me after mosquito popping is done. Okay, where's the mosquitoes clear? It's time to begin our exploration. We have the spider shield to block poison attacks. We have the rusted iron ring that we picked up from the asylum so that we can move normally in the water, and we're currently wearing the ninja set, which has quite good poison resist. The thing to understand is when exploring Lower Blighttown you will get poisoned. I wouldn't bother wasting resources healing it until you're in an area where you're not going to get poisoned. So here's the invasion, Man-Eater Mildred. Mildred has a big sword, a sort of cleaver thing, a wooden plank shield and a sack. She doesn't have any armour, so she's pretty easy to stagger. And doesn't have that many hit points, about 1,000. When you kill her, you get some humanity, her butcher's knife. Now it's time to begin the exploration. So round this pillar is a large soul of Proud Knight and one of these guys. These guys aren't particularly dangerous, as we found out above, but they do have a flamethrower attack that's got quite a wide range, so it's best to attack them from the side or the back. However, since they're staggered, if you can get the hits in before they wind up, you're good to go. This ramp leads up to the back door into Blighttown. We will be exploring it partially to pick up an item that we can use later on after beating the boss. Talking of the boss, if you just want to go and fight the boss, you need to run up to this big mound of webbing and get to the little cave. But if you want to explore more, we'll continue our route. So we've got a bug there. On this side we have a large titanite shard. This pillar is also important because here an NPC spawns once you've got your pyromancy flame up to +10. She'll teach you a bunch of spells and let you ascend your pyromancy flame past +15. The normal pyromancy ascenders can only do it to +15. She further ascends it and gives it its last 5 level ups. These guys with the rocks on their heads, they're a new monster. Their special moves are lobbing rocks at you and running at you rolling a rock. They're quite tough and easy to aggro all of them at once, so be careful. This bug doesn't guard anything, he's just there. And you've got some more mosquitoes here. If you remember from the beginning, from the end of the last video, throwing knives are a pretty damn good way of dealing with them because they don't cost you stamina and you don't have to give up whatever your normal weapon is to use them. They're not quite as cheap as bows at 10 souls per shot, and your ammo supply can be a bit limited. So if you die a lot here, you might run out of knives. See, when we're fighting these, we don't want to get too close in case we aggro the rock throwers. Poison is a good time to remember that Dark Souls has no pause. So if you are wandering around in menus, your poison counter is still ticking down. Onwards with our exploration. There's nothing around this pillar, so it can be ignored. Now, if we go round to the right, you'll see two of the rock guys guarding a glowy. Since they can be pretty brutal, we don't want to attack one without being at full health. Since you can't get the glowy without attacking them. And there, that's a rock pound. And just duck around the corner and drink again. So yeah, they use their rocks a bit like a club. That's their rolling attack. And if you're too far from them, they'll lob their rock at you instead. They can sometimes drop a pickaxe. This weapon is a great club, so called because it is both great and a club. Seriously though, it's quite favoured by people doing strength runs because it's got good scaling and hits like the proverbial brick shit house. Just let's find it in our selection of weapons. As you can see here, the poison is still hissing down. So we can't actually use it, even two-handed. And as you can see, it's a big club in here. We're just going to flail helplessly. But its stats are... See, at the moment it's only got B scaling, but I believe that goes up to A when you upgrade it. Now we go back to our halberd. Continuing to follow the wall around, we have the... yes, there's a pickaxe dropped by the guys. It's actually a fairly rare drop, I believe, so that's good fortune. So continuing to follow the wall around. Here we have the Poison Mist Pyromancy and the Pyromancer costume, which the starting Pyromancer begins with, otherwise obviously you get it there. Further on we have the next of this region's new enemies, which are these giant leeches. They have a sort of flail at you attack and they can spit goop too. This corpse has a large Proud Knight soul. And coming around a bit more. Try to stay on the mud where you can. Just partly, not so much because of the damage of the poison, but because the hissing is kind of annoying. We have this ramp going up. This leads to another area which is mostly optional, but we'll just pay a visit to the top part of it because it's useful. It's got a very useful item. Continuing our trip round the walls, we've got more slugs. They are deceptively, I'm calling them slugs, they are actually leeches. They are deceptively fast, but fairly fragile. As you can see, less than 200 hit points. And they also have a very good chance of dropping green titanite, I believe in lumps of 5, or large titanite. So if you're farming for upgrade materials, these guys are a good bet. There's its ink attack, or its slime attack. Watch out for the one round the corner. And heal. You have a slight recovery period between, there's another large titanite, between their sort of their lurch and them attacking again. And this one's dropped something. Large titanite shard. And there we are, 5 green titanite, useful for upgrading magic weapons, divine weapons, and fire weapons. This weapon here that we've picked up, Sever, has a property that it gives you back a little bit of health when you hit things with it. Yeah, restores hit points with each hit, but again we can't use it, I believe. We can't even use it. No, we can. We could use it two-handed, and it's a curved greatsword. But quite heavy on the stamina, so we're going to again go back to our little halberd. As you can see, we're just drinking through the poison rather than healing it. There's 3 slugs at the base of the ramp. 3 leeches at the base of the ramp, sorry. There's also another mosquito spawn in this area, so keep an eye out for them. Looks like we might have missed a glowy back there, so we'll go back and explore again when we're done in this little area. It is unfortunately due to the murk, it is possible to miss glowies even when you know they're here. Under the ramp, there's a bit of flailing and another single green titanite shard, which would be great if we hadn't just picked up to 10. This leads into a nice little hollow with a body and a plank shield, which is a shield that Man-Eater Mildred has. It also has a secret behind it, and inside the secret is a chest, behind which are twin humanities. Well done, but we're not done here yet. Behind the chest is another secret. And behind this is the area known as the Great Hollow. This is an optional area of the game that leads to another optional area. We will be doing an exploration of them both, but not right now. The Great Hollow is, so that's the basilisk falling through. It has got a bonfire at the top, We will rest here, just because if I fall on this next bit it's a shorter walk back. So the Great Hollow is the inside of one of the arch trees, all rotten and hollowed out. This is, to me, this is sort of a good analogy for the state of the game world, because the arch trees is one of the foundations of the world as I see it in the Dark Souls universe. They sort of, to me, they're linked in a way to me with the concept of Yggdrasil, the world tree, and here we have one of them, as I said, all rotten and hollowed out, which, yeah, describes the state of the Dark Souls world, really. From a gameplay perspective, this tree has a lot of coloured titanite shards, large ones, no chunks, large titanite chunks, but no slabs, and a lot of crystal lizards that nest around, and the easy way to get those is to find out where they are, and then do the save reload trick on them. But what we're here for is to pick up an item called the Chloranthy Ring, which is down here in this little hollow tree, and to get to it you have to sort of walk off here at precisely the right spot to not go plummeting to your death. So let's give that a go. I think it's about here. And you sort of land on there, then you roll forward and you land there. And what this ring does is it increases your stamina regen rate. It's quite popular amongst the PvP set and for people wearing heavy armour or who just need faster stamina regen in general. It's a good ring to use without having any of the downsides of some other rings that you can have that have basically the same effect. And now we have to get out of the hollow. And you do this by following the paths back, the tree branches back up. The safe ones to walk on tend to have this sort of slightly worn, flat texture on them. But it's still occasionally possible to slide off them due to geometry problems. Sometimes also there's tree branches that don't have that marking, which are safe to walk on. And that tends to be how you get to some more obscure treasures in the hollow. It is possible to both walk up and down the hollow, but it's not generally recommended to try and walk back up. Most people homeward bone out if they haven't got alternate means of transport yet. Since we've rested, everything has respawned. That's just fine. We're going to go back to the bonfire on the other side of the area, rest up, then we're going to go about halfway up the back door into Blighttown to pick up a couple of items and then face the boss. Okay, the secret with this lift is to sort of jump onto the platform and it's slightly below you, but not too far below. And again, when you're dismounting the lift, don't you miss these conversations we used to have? It's again just to wait until you're slightly above the platform. If you stay on for too long, you get flung to your doom. Now, there'll be a bug around here shortly, a mosquito. There it is. And there's another one here. If we were just going straight up the ladder, we could ignore it, but since we are going to do some exploration, we're going to need to deal with it. Where we're going for is that that area back there, that tunnel into the rock. As you can hear, there's some blow dart guys about. You can just hear their pipes plonking around onto the stone. So this is why we have one of the many reasons we have the spider shield is that there's a lot of blow dart guys here. Keep moving until you're in a point where you can't be hit by more than one, because they can set up a nasty crossfire if you don't keep moving. And remember, it only takes about 2 darts to get you. The safe point to attack them is just after they've plunked. That is a technical term. And again, if you had heavier armour, you wouldn't get staggered by the hit. This guy will fall down, which is handy. In fact, I think the other one has fallen down as well. So that's quite handy. That means they're going to climb back up the ladder, probably. There's dogs down there, so we aren't going to just follow them. So with our exit route clear, we go back up. And come round here. To make taking this one out a bit more difficult, there's pots in the way. On that side is a quite large soul. And below us are a couple of dogs guarding a firekeeper soul. And this is where we try to be Flash and probably die horribly. So we're just going to drop down. Sometimes you can get them both with one lunge attack, with one plunge attack. Now, picking up this firekeeper soul triggers some events up in Firelink Shrine. You'll see what they are when we go back there. There's nothing to the left there, so we just return back the way we came. And because we're not continuing our journey upwards, we go back down one level. And follow this path around. This leads us to what is often known as the branch of doom. This is because whilst it's normally easy enough to walk across it in this direction, its geometry can make getting back tricky. Some people say you have better luck if you walk fast across it than if you teeter. They're probably right. Depends how much you trust your control. First enemy here is a bug. Then past it we have costuming, which is the real reason we're here. This gives us the sealer set, which is quite nice red robes. That has and something called a tin banishment catalyst. The other thing we have here is the remedy spell, which cures poison and things. I don't believe there's actually anything up here, but I wouldn't want to say there isn't and be accused of misleading you. So we're just going to verify that. What we have here, okay, so it looks like what we have here is a bug and a mosquito. And that's about it. Dead end ahead, as it says. So there's no need to come up to this little ladder. I have a vague feeling it might be used in a speed run of some sort, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. So if you remember from our trip down, ladders are marked by torches. It's now time to return across the Bridge of Doom. You can, of course, if you're not feeling brave, homeward bone down back to the bonfire. This time the bridge was merciful. Its little legs are still moving. The route down onto from the lift is here, again marked by a pair of torches. And again, you probably want to jump when you're just above. I'm just going to do a little bit of off-camera farming here for an extra large shard to get my halberd up to +9, maybe +10 if I'm really lucky. So join me back at the bonfire when we go for the boss run. Right, welcome back. I've finished farming my leeches and have upgraded my halberd to +9. I have also increased my character's level a couple of times, putting points into endurance and vitality and 1 point into faith, because that brings it up to 12 and should let me use a couple of spells. We are also going to check our shield, decide which one we're going to use. We can't take that past +5. Won't, because shields upgrade as weapons, not armour, so we can't actually send it past +5 ourselves. So, on to the boss. Here we have some player summon signs, but we're going to leave them. And we're just going to do a run for the boss. So, just run past the bugs. Hope you don't get hit by their fire breath. Don't worry about getting poisoned at this point. We'll be fixing that once we're into the next area. In case you're curious, farming for that extra Titanite shard I needed took me 2 and a bit circuits of the slugs, during which I also got another 5 green Titanite. We're now in Quelaag's domain. It's now safe to heal poison, swap out our anti-poison weaponry, so we're going to put our Arcadicus kite shield back on and clear down our inventory. We don't need to worry about speed, so we're swapping this ring out with the Chloranthy ring that we just picked up, which will increase our stamina regen. And we're also going to heal up to full, since some kind soul kindled our bonfire and we've got an extra flask. Here in this area you'll see these poor sorts of praying, prostrate people with eggs on their back. Do not attack them unless you feel like walking back to the boss area. These guys are non-hostile and can be ignored. I'll show you the results of attacking them later, but for now, since I'm human, I want to go for the boss. If you've defeated Man-Eater Mildred, her sign will show up here. She can't take on the boss on her own, but she isn't bad at just distracting it. So obviously, as always, if you're having problems with the boss, do consider summoning. A lot of the game was actually balanced around the idea that most players will have to summon for the bosses, if not for anything else. And here we have the spider boss, the burning spider boss. The burning naked lady spider boss, aka Chaos Witch Quelaag. Her party tricks are the spider body will spew lava. She's got a sword, which has got big range, and the spider body, if you sort of stay on this side of her, she can't really hit you a lot. But the spider body has this party trick where it spews lava around. She's also got some other attacks, one of which is that the entire spider body does a sort of wiggle, and then we get a massive AoE attack from her. So if you need to run to clear space, you remember you run a lot faster when you're not locked on. If you can hit the human body part, it will stun her. It is in fact possible to keep her utterly stun locked throughout the entire fight if you're lucky, have a weapon with the right. And that's how you die to Quelaag. Now, because as you can probably guess, she's pretty immune to fire. And if you have any fire resist stuff yourself, it's a good idea to go and use it. Quelaag take 2. If you're going to heal, it's generally best to wait until the spider starts on a lava spewing thing, because she's immobile during that time. And don't let yourself be backed into corners, because obviously that seriously hinders your mobility, and you can quite literally be caught between a rock and a spidery place. Now she can only ever have 3 patches of lava down at once. When she does that sort of lift up thing, that means she's going to hit you with her AoE and run like hell, because it is brutal. It's basically a PB AoE that attacks everywhere around the spider. And now it's doing its leg dance, which it sort of lifts up and then spikes down with lavary legs, and we've died again. You can unfortunately get trapped in Quelaag's legs, and that happens. So, after a couple of deaths, I decided to cheer myself up by playing Fashioned Souls. Right now I'm wearing the Sealer robe and gloves, and the Wanderer boots and Thief mask. This has makes absolutely no difference to my combat effectiveness. It just makes me feel a bit better. Yeah, when the spider spews, that's generally a good time to try and attack. They're not if you're going to be backed into a wall, because it can make avoiding a follow-up AoE or leg stomp a bit difficult. Now, of course, we're getting to the point in a fight where the boss is the most dangerous, which is when you've almost won. And here we have it, Quelaag defeated. The item we've got here is the soul of Quelaag. It can either be popped for a lot of souls or convert into one of two special weapons. But for now we're going to do what we came here to do, which is to ring the bell. And I'm sure there's some terrible joke to be made there, but I won't make it because I am a classy streaming lady. Ringing the bell has two effects, the first of which is to wake that giant up and open the gateway to Sen's Fortress, which is a building that the guy with the onion helm was sitting outside. The second effect of the ringing the bell we'll discover when we get back to Firelink Shrine. But before we go back, there's a few more things we need to do. Firstly, we need to head down these little stairs and look out there. These are Lost Izalith, the ruins of Lost Izalith, which is one of the later areas in the game. Some people don't like the lava, it doesn't bother me personally. This is a lift that again acts as a shortcut later on. And through here is a secret door. This leads to a bonfire. This non-hostile egg guy, Engi.
What have we here? Are you a new servant?
The answer here is yes, we are a new servant.
But you have no eggs. No matter. Go along and have audience with our fair lady. I pray that you will mind my manners.
He's sort of like this sort of weird butler, attendant, overprotective grandfather type.
What is it?
And there is the fair lady. You can't normally talk to her. She has a covenant, which is basically about giving her humanity, and unlocks a shortcut again later on. But we won't do that this run. And she can reinforce the Estus flask with the Firekeeper soul we picked up earlier. The reason we're doing it here rather than at Firelink Shrine will be explained shortly. And finally, yeah, she can't talk. We'll just leave her for a moment.
Are you prepared then? I will if you need some.
And this guy, he can upgrade your pyromancy flame. Again, like Laurentius up in Firelink, he can bring it up to plus 15. After that, you need to speak to the NPC that we haven't unlocked just yet. At this point, he doesn't sell anything. To actually get more information out, more stuff out of him, we have to get eggs that he trusts us, and we'll show you how to do that in a moment. But first, talking to the fair lady. Now, you remember one of my starting gifts was the old witch's ring, and the reason I picked that is that we could talk to her. And yes, she thinks you're Quelaag, the one you've just killed. I guess she's blind as well. Now, some people say that killing her at this point would be a mercy killing. But once you've talked to her, he changes his tune a tiny bit. Not a huge amount, but a tiny bit. I'm just going to leave. And we're going to invest at this bonfire because I'm going to show you both how you get an egghead and why you didn't want to attack those egg carriers before you fought Quelaag. So we head down here into the demon ruins. We have a whole host of egg carriers and another bonfire. Now, the reason they've put this bonfire here is obviously that if you kill the fair lady, her bonfire goes out. Those waving tentacles, they're a boss. If you feel yourself in sudden desperate need of extra souls, you can kill him. We'll go over that in a little bonus video. These guys, again, mostly non-hostile, but they will aggro a bit more readily, so we just want to whack him once. And this is why you shouldn't kill him, because when they die, they spawn these worms that basically eat you alive unless you're very quick. However, this doesn't get us any closer to getting an egg. To get an egg, you want to non-aggressively. I say non-aggressively. You want to non-fatally aggro them. A kick will generally do the job. And now you want to wait, and you stand here getting hit by them until they do a certain attack. This one, where the worm comes out of the egg eater and eats your brains, basically. Just do it a second. Let it do it a second time, and back off. We might as well go back up to the fair lady's fire. 1 or 2 goes should be enough to get the effect we need, which is infected by a egg worm, by a larvae. And you'll know it works when your character starts scratching their head in their idle animations. Whilst we're waiting for that to happen, you'll notice that rather obvious blank wall back there. It is not, despite all appearances, a shortcut. But later on, an NPC's body spawns there with their armour. Just going to wait for the idle animation, and then it takes about, once you're certain you've been egg-headed, it takes about 5 minutes for it to actually activate. Yeah, there we are, there's the head scratch, and now in about 5 minutes you'll see what happens. And here we have it. Best hat in the game. The egg head. This has a few game effects. Firstly, you can't wear helmets. Secondly, it eats half the souls you gain until it's gathered about 100,000, at which point it matures into a full egg head, and your kick attack gets replaced with a maggot lunge. Unfortunately, you can't infect other people. But right now that we've got an egghead, we can go and speak to him, and he'll be a lot friendlier.
You're just like me. Your dedication is fully apparent. Only, well, your head looks awful. Why not try this? I've no use for it any longer.
This item cures you of egg-headedness.
What is it that you need?
And now he'll sell you either more of these if you get accidentally egg-headed, and a couple of extra spells.
Interested in pyromancy? If you have, I shall share.
He's also another source of a pyromancy flame. If you killed Adventurous or, well, failed to get one from Adventurous for whatever way.
Fair lady, well, now, let this strength be yours. In all honesty, I am what comfort can I offer without speaking her tongue? Worse than dead, we are diseased and unwanted, like the great swamp. But my dear fair lady, she cried for me and swallowed the great blight pus, despite Mistress Quelaag's orders to the contrary.
So let's use our egg vermifuge, because I don't really want to be egg-headed for the rest of this playthrough, amusing though it might be. And there we are, not much worse for wear. With our business in Blighttown done, it's now time to head back into the sunlight. The route up begins pretty much as it did before. Clear up the sludge wheel. Because we're not going onwards, we just ignore that one and run past him. And again, because we've cleared out all the snipers, it's a clear run up here. Another corner here is a chest that contains the key to the new Londo Ruins. And this passageway is our way out. It's guarded by 3 of the basic club-wielding barbarians. You can either fight them. They sometimes aggro all at once, in which case the best bet is to run for the ladder and let their awful pathfinding deal with them for you. Or try and take them on a 1-by-1. Or if they both come for you, your best bet is just to run. Or unless you can take them out very quickly or more competent than me. But if you get to the ladder, make sure you don't fall down. They'll sort of follow you around and usually, or sometimes, not always, sometimes, fall off the edge like that. You only nearly need one of them to do it. Just fighting big lungy enemies in a place where you don't have a lot of space to maneuver often ends badly, as I'm sure you've discovered by now. Whether he dies or not is irrelevant. The key thing is he's jumped down, he's out of our way. Let's bring this out into the Valley of the Drakes, which you may remember from, I think, back in episode 2, where we just went and picked up a little bit of treasure. This area links us to the bottom of the lower Undead Berg. And this is the gate that the key to the new Londo Ruins would have opened if we hadn't already opened it from this side with the master key. New Londo Ruins, some background. And up the lift to Firelink Shrine. Where we're going to notice the odd difference or two. The first is that the lady in the cage is dead, leaving behind her clothes, and this thing, the Black Eye Orb. And what the Black Eye Orb does is, at a certain point in the game, you'll get a key, you'll get a sort of a notification from it. And then you'll get to try and do in the guy who killed her. Doing that will allow you to bring her back to life if you want. Unfortunately, because the lady was a firekeeper, the fire's gone out. This guy?
That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no lie. Damn, that stench. And I was really beginning to like it here. Maybe it's time I do something about it. Maybe it's time I do something about it.
That, I'm afraid to say, is all he wrote. talking, and what's this then she's talking about? He is talking about this thing. This is our major plot exposition, which we'll start with next episode. Before we end this video, I'm going to show you the NPC that I talked about earlier, the one who unlocks when your flame gets to 10. This is Quelaag.
A mere undead. I am Quelaag of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh. You have a gift. Are you too one who seeks my pyromancy, like Solomon? Yes, of course. It should be.
Her island is an odd little safe spot. Things don't approach.
But to pursue my pyromancy, you must give something up. Are you prepared to do this?
Okay. She sells more spells, the big powerful fire spells, and copies of the other one, some of the ones that Laurentius sold.
Long ago, I accepted another.
She also gives you some plot and some origins of Lost Easelis.
There was a man almost as bungling as you. The little rascal really made me think. Pyromancy is the art of invoking and manipulating fire. But remember one thing. Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
Anyway, this is Mad Cat signing off. Join me next time as we take on Sen's Fortress.